Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, there is still no deal in Washington to avoid the fiscal cliff. After another disappointing season, the Chargers make big changes. Head coach Norv Turner is out, and so is general manager A.J. Smith. The new year will bring new protections for homeowners as the Homeowners Bill of Rights goes into effect. Dragon boat racing, one of the most popular sports in the world. We're going to show you a very special team racing out on Mission Bay. You might recognize a familiar face on the crew. And we'll ring in the new year with a look at the growing wine industry in Baja California. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Irwin Jacobs and by
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Anderson. Dwayne Brown is off tonight. It looks as though 2013 will begin without a House vote on a deal to avoid the fiscal cliff. Lawmakers adjourned earlier today without a final agreement. The GOP leadership says they'll wait until tomorrow to debate and vote on any tax and spending legislation. In the meantime, the Senate is still working on ways to avoid across-the-board spending cuts and the end of the Bush-era tax cuts. The Senate vote may not happen until after midnight on the East Coast. Analysts say San Diego could take an economic hit of close to $6 billion if taxes go up and automatic spending cuts take effect. PBS NewsHour will have more on the fiscal cliff coming up at 7 o'clock tonight here on KPBS. The San Diego Chargers fired general manager A.J. Smith and head coach Norv Turner today, a day after the team beat the rival Oakland Raiders. The die was actually cast weeks ago after a loss to Carolina eliminated San Diego from playoff contention. Coach Norv Turner had already been hinting publicly about how this season would end for him.
You know, it's not like that today's a surprise. I think, 6 weeks ago you all were writing about it and saw it coming. So we've had our chance to get comfortable with it.
Turner won 59 games as head coach of the Chargers for the past 7 years. He won 3 playoff games with the team and won the AFC West in each of his first 3 years as coach. However, the team fell short of getting to the league's championship game, the Super Bowl. The Chargers have also failed to make the playoffs for 3 straight years. Turner says he knows that winning is the key to holding an NFL head coaching job, and he says he knows he nearly lost his job a year ago.
Dean has really been, as I said, been great. I think he made a decision last year at the end of the year based on what he thought was best for the guys in this room. It didn't work out, and I understand it's a business.
Chargers president Dean Spanos called both Turner and A.J. Smith consummate professionals, and he praised them for their determination and integrity. But at the end of the day, Spanos says it is about winning.
Well, obviously, if you don't win, fans aren't going to come. And and I think this is part of our business. And, as I said earlier, our goal is to put a winning, product on the field, and we haven't done that in the last 3 years. So it's not a good thing when you don't see the fans in the stands.
Spanos called today tough because he's worked closely with both men for a long time, but he says the decision was made when the Chargers lost to Carolina and the team's playoff chances were snuffed out.
I knew at the beginning of the season that if we didn't get into the playoffs and win some games that I was probably going to have to make this decision. But I'm looking forward now to the process of hiring a new general manager and a new head coach.
Spanos says he has 7 or 8 people in mind for each of those positions. He says he wants to hire a general manager first and then work with that person to hire a coach. San Diego's largest hospice operator will temporarily shut down its hospital today as it struggles with an ongoing audit and layoffs. San Diego Hospice will close its 24-bed facility in Hillcrest, and more staff will be laid off. KPBS investigations producer Joanne Farian joins me now to tell us more. Joanne, what led up to the hospital closure and those layoffs?
Well, it all began nearly 2 years ago when San Diego Hospice got notice it was being audited. Now, some background first. Hospice is a type of end-of-life care for people who are terminally ill. Hospice provides pain management and treatment of symptoms rather than curative care. And for the most part, Medicare pays for hospice. The audit, which began in February of 2011, is looking at whether thousands of people who use San Diego Hospice were actually eligible.
Well, what would make somebody not eligible for hospice care?
Well, by definition, you have to be terminally ill, which means you have less than 6 months to live. And there has to be proper medical documentation of that diagnosis. With the number of people choosing hospice care growing, Medicare is cracking down and making sure hospice hasn't evolved into a long-term care program for the chronically ill rather than the terminally ill. Now, let's take a quick look at some numbers. In 1998, Medicare spent $2.2 billion on hospice benefits. In just over a decade, that number went up to more than $12 billion. Now, depending on the results of the audit, San Diego Hospice may need to pay millions of dollars back to Medicare.
Now, this audit has already been going on for 2 years. No results so far, right?
No, that's right, Eric. In fact, San Diego Hospice is still being audited. They're required to send the paperwork on every patient they admit to the auditors. I spoke with the president and CEO of San Diego Hospice, Kathleen Pecurer.
An organization our size is left out there unsure of what this could look like. We've done our own internal examination of, what potentially do we need a stronger lens in any areas, looking at eligibility and those types of things. But still, as an organization, you're just kind of in the dark waiting to see when it comes back.
Now, more layoffs are in the offing. How's that affecting patient care?
Well, Eric, a total of 280 employees have been laid off. That's about 1/3 of the staff. But at the same time, the number of patients has been reduced from about 1,000 this time last year to less than 700 now. So same patient care, but fewer patients and fewer employees. And I should note, San Diego Hospice hopes to eventually reopen the hospital as a different kind of facility, which requires fewer staff.
KPBS investigations producer Joanne Farian. Thanks, Joanne. The start of a new year means a lot of new laws are going into effect here in California, but there is a delay for one new law. It's a state ban of a controversial therapy intended to turn gay minors straight. A San Diego pastor is among a group of plaintiffs claiming the law violates their First Amendment rights. A federal appeals court put the law on hold until their suit could be reviewed. Starting tomorrow, distressed homeowners will get some new protections with the California Homeowners Bill of Rights. KPBS reporter Tom Fudge says it will also likely produce more home sales and foreclosures.
The Bill of Rights that takes effect in the new year will outlaw some infamous practices like dual tracking. That's where a person can have their home foreclosed even as they thought the bank was working to help them keep it. But the bill also aims to accelerate a process that has been bogged down in red tape. Ali Tarzi is with San Diego's Community Housing Works. He says when a homeowner applies for a loan modification, the bank will have less than a week to inform that person their application was received.
From that point, they have 30 days to give the homeowner an answer, positive or negative, modification approved or modification denied.
Tarzi says expediting the process will relieve the uncertainty that's plaguing many homeowners, but it will also boost the number of short sales and foreclosures in the near term. Tom Fudge, KPBS News.
The National Safety Council is calling for a repeal of another state law taking effect tomorrow. It allows hands-free texting while driving, using voice-activated devices like the iPhone's Siri. Now, the Safety Council says that safe driving requires a driver's full attention. As you get ready to ring in the new year, we want to remind you that law enforcement is on the lookout for those who plan to drink and drive today. The Highway Patrol says it has arrested 61 suspected drunk drivers since Friday night. There are a couple of services available to get you home safe. One is AAA's Tipsy Tow service. It offers a free ride and a tow of up to 7 miles. The contact number is 1-800-400-4600. 888-4AAA. The other service is called Be My Designated Driver. You can reserve a personal driver in advance at BeMyDD.com. We've also got links for this information on our website. Tonight, we continue our look back at 2012 with some of the big stories from our investigations desk. Peggy Pico has more.
Among our top 2012 stories, how UT San Diego fared in its first year under the new leadership of Doug Manchester, and how San Diego took the lead in dealing with the worst whooping cough epidemic in 60 years. Joining me to talk about these stories is KPBS investigative reporter Amitha Sharma and Joanne Farian. Thank you both for coming on and filling us in on this.
Thanks for having us.
Joanne, you broke the story about the comeback of whooping cough here in San Diego and also in the U.S. Give us the highlights of what happened.
Well, that was back in 2010, and what we discovered is that most of the people who were getting sick with whooping cough had been immunized. So we asked all sorts of questions about how effective is the vaccine. So now fast forward 2 years, we're in 2012. We revisited this because what's happening now, the rest of the country is experiencing what San Diego did. There's an epidemic. For example, in the 1970s, 1,000 cases across the country, now nearly 40,000. And the science is saying perhaps this vaccine is not as effective as we first thought, which is what we were telling people basically in 2010.
Which is what, actually you found out by looking at that data. Now, Amitha, you covered changes at UT San Diego under ownership of Doug Manchester. What were some of those changes?
Well, Doug Manchester purchased the paper about a year ago for $110 million. At the time, a lot of people were speculating, wondering, why is he buying a newspaper? He's a real estate mogul. What interest does he have in media? The speculation, the scuttlebutt was that, oh, he's going to use it as a mouthpiece to promote his agenda. Now, depending on who you speak to, that actually came true. His critics will say he did exactly that. He used the paper to promote his agenda. He ran front page editorials boosting the candidacy of his mayoral candidate, Carl DeMaio, former San Diego City Councilman. He also wrote front page editorials touting the construction of a stadium at the 10th Avenue Marine Terminal. So a lot of his detractors said, look, he went and he did just that. He created a television station. He has reporters who normally did print stories for the newspaper go on television, just as we do here, and talk about their news stories and put them online. He also bought the region's only other newspaper, the North County Times. So he now owns the two remaining daily newspapers in San Diego County. Now, content-wise, a lot of people say, a lot of reporters inside the newsroom were worried about his theme when he first purchased the paper, and that was to do good stories or positive stories. I think some people are left still wondering a year later, does this mean that we can't do that strong investigative journalism? If you talk to CEO John Lynch, he says that's not true. We are still holding people accountable. Doug Manchester says the same thing. He says, all I was saying when I was talking about positive stories was if there is an opportunity to put something positive in a story, I think you should do that.
He has said that. He came on here, I think both of you remember this, and has said, look, I make no apologies. I'm going to do positive stories about San Diego. Now, whether he also does the other stories, I guess we'll see more next year. And speaking of which, Joanne, looking forward to 2013, you're working on some investigations now, and one of them is about end-of-life cost and health care. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We're hearing so much now about the aging population. Combine that with the threat to Medicare, and we know that Medicare is not going to have an endless pot of money. So what we're doing is we're taking a look at end of life relative to cost. That we do know that in the last year of life, people consume the majority of healthcare costs, and we're going to look at end of life care through the lens of hospice care. So we're going to have a series of stories. It's going to begin in January, and we're going to explore all of those issues.
Looking forward to that. And Amitha, you've been covering San Onofre as well quite extensively. What's coming up in the new year on that arena?
Well, federal regulators, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, is supposed to decide by March on whether or not to reopen Unit 2 at San Onofre. I think that there are going to be many more stories scrutinizing whether or not Unit 2 is indeed ready to run again.
Okay, certainly look forward to both of your stories and many, many more, I hope, in the coming years. So Amitha Sharma and Joanne Farron, thanks so much for giving us the updates and the sneak peeks at 2013.
Thanks for having us.
On this New Year's Eve, we also want to remember those who left us over the past year after making their mark on San Diego.
I'm Margaret Warner. On the next News Hour, the fiscal cliff on deadline day, and a look back at the stories that caught our attention in 2012. That's Monday, New Year's Eve, on the PBS News Hour.
We've been revisiting some of our favorite stories from 2012. One of them features some strange beasts out on Mission Bay. Peggy Pico tells us all about them.
A jagged-toothed grin, fiery red tongue, and flary nostrils. Clearly, Dragon 2 is ready to race in San Diego's Dragon Boat Festival on Mission Bay.
6, 7, 8, 9, okay?
Purple jerseys set my team apart from about 4 dozen other college and corporate teams ready to race.
Yeah, push the tail down, lift the head up.
Our 40-foot-long and nearly 400-pound boat is hand-carried into the brisk water for our 500-meter race.
It's on these cool boats that are very cute, and there's 20 of us in a boat, and you work as a team, and everyone faces forward, so we call it paddling.
All right, let's have a good race, girls!
A pat on the head should bring us luck, says an ancient Chinese tradition that started with the first dragon boat race more than 2,000 years ago. Today, 50 million people worldwide are dragon boat racers, making it one of the most popular team sports in the world, second only to soccer. World championships are held every 2 years. But you don't have to be an athlete to paddle with us. The only requirement to be on Team Survivor is to have cancer.
I was breastfeeding my first daughter, and at about 3 months post delivery, I discovered a lump.
I had lymphoma, in non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it was in my throat.
Hidden power, 2, 3, 4.
I joined after my last treatment for stage 3 breast cancer. Team Survivor San Diego is among 50 international survival dragon boat teams.
Thank you. I actually found out about dragon boating because I didn't know anything about dragon boating until my dad sent me a clipping from a newspaper from Ireland.
But really it is just a reflection on what the women have been through to get there.
Canadian doctor Donald McKenzie started the first cancer survivor dragon boat team in 1996 after his revolutionary study found dragon boat paddling prevents swelling in the lymph system, reduces surgical scars, and speeds recovery in women who've had mastectomies. Now, vigorous exercise is a standard recommendation for nearly all recovering cancer patients.
Let it run! Nice job, you guys.
And though we came in third today, we still celebrate being in the same boat of life as a team of survivors.
Okay, we're going to push through this. Ain't nothing we can't do, okay? Nothing we can't do.
There's very few people, unless they've walked in your shoes, can truly empathize.
And it's just camaraderie, and it's going out and having fun together rather than wallowing around feeling sorry for yourself.
This has showed me that, yes, you can recover, and yes, you can be strong, and other people are strong with you.
Team
And our own Peggy Pico was reporting there. Team Survivors San Diego is a nonprofit organization. It provides free exercise activities, boat racing, yoga, and walking groups, and it's free to women in all stages of cancer and recovery. If you'd like some more information, go to our website, kpbs.org. It's going to be a bit chilly out on the water for the next couple of days in San Diego. The forecast for the coast calling for partly cloudy skies. Temperatures in the low 60s. The same for the inland areas. We may get some patchy frost tonight. It's going to be sunny but cold up in the mountains, and in the deserts, look for partly cloudy skies and more chilly conditions. Before you raise your glass in a New Year's Eve toast tonight, you might want to think about filling it with wine from south of the border. Fronteras reporter Jill Replogle and KPBS video journalist Katie Ufrat recently took a look at Baja California's budding wine industry.
Baja California's Valle de Guadalupe lacks Napa's rolling, oak-studded hills, but it does look a lot like some of the wine valleys of Southern California. Sparsely vegetated, rocky hills give way to rows of planted vines and occasional groves of olive trees, rolling down towards the valley floor. Mexican wines have won scores of international prizes in recent years, including 12 medals in last year's International Wine and Spirits competition in Spain. The vast majority of the country's wine is produced in the valleys around Ensenada. In the early 80s, there were just 4 wineries in this valley, and now there are more than 60, and hotels and restaurants are popping up all the time. Still, it's not exactly easy to find your way around Baja's wine region. Signage is vague, and most roads off the main drag are unpaved and pocked with potholes and mud puddles. But the region has other, perhaps bigger problems: high taxes and, the bane of all Western farmers, a scarcity of water.
If we want to grow as a sector, we have land, good land, and a very suitable climate. But if we want to grow as an industry, we need water.
Baja California has about 8,000 acres of vineyards, compared to Napa's 45,000 acres. While there simply isn't as much suitable land for growing grapes in Baja, there is a lot more that could be planted. The problem is, the growing city of Ensenada sucks up a lot of the region's water. In addition, salt buildup is a problem in the lower parts of the wine valleys.
La napa freática, que es el manto acuífero, cuando llueve mucho.
Victor Manuel Torres Alegre explains that when it rains, water picks up salt from the soil and carries it to the lower parts of the valley. When it dries up, the salt stays in the topsoil.
Entonces baja el agua, pero arriba hay una capa de sal.
Salty soil can damage grapevines and decrease crop yields. Plus, some Baja wines have a reputation of tasting a little salty. And then there are the taxes.
A little less than half the price of the wine goes toward paying taxes. So that makes our wine a little more expensive compared with many other wines.
Currently, the tax on wine in the state of Baja California is 41%. It was set to jump to 45.5% in February, but the governor signed a last-minute decree that postponed the tax on local producers for a year. In comparison, in San Diego, the approximate tax on a $25 bottle of California wine is less than 10%. Alberta Ceja Medina runs the Cheque Winery along with her husband. She's also the president of Baja's Grape Producers Guild. Ceja is realistic about the possibility of getting taxes reduced for the industry, but she says there are other ways the government could help.
In the history of Mexico, a tax has never been removed. We're business people. We know we have to pay taxes. Right now, we're fighting for a simplification of the administrative requirements to start.
por una simplificación administrativa para empezar.
Then, if they can't get the taxes lowered, she says, maybe they can get the government to give some of those taxes back, for example, in the form of credit to producers. The Baja state government has designated the wine sector as a priority industry, but Ceja recognizes that the only way producers will get the support they need to flourish is to demand it.
The government isn't going to say, come here, I'm going to help you. We have to get organized, get prepared and everything, and then go and say, look, this is how we want you to help us.
The government is also looking at ways to provide more water to the region's wine growers. The latest plan is to pipe in gray water from Tijuana for irrigation. And the industry is getting organized and more professional. The State University in Ensenada now offers postgraduate degrees in grape production and winemaking. Manuel Victor Torres Alegre, who has a doctorate in winemaking from the University of Bordeaux, teaches at the school. Still, according to Ceja, the head of the Producers Guild, only about 30% of the wine consumed in Mexico is produced in Mexico. That means there's a lot of room for growth.
Si nosotros no lo cubrimos,
if we don't cover it, another country's going to cover it, or another state, another region. So the market is there. We're the ones who have to get moving, the state, academia, and the business people.
If they can do it, Ensenada could just be the next Napa, albeit on a smaller scale, and that could bring benefits to all of its residents.
That was KPBS Fronteras desk reporter Jill Replogo with video journalist Katie Ufrat. More of the Fronteras team's coverage can be found online at fronterasdesk.org. Tonight's stories are on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. KPBS Evening Edition will not be seen tomorrow night. Instead, you can tune in for Ken Kramer's About San Diego New Year's special at 5 and 6:30. Dwayne Brown and Peggy Pico will be back with KPBS Evening Edition on Wednesday, January 2nd. All of us here at KPBS, thank you for joining us throughout 2012, and we wish you a safe and happy new year. Good night.